Good afternoon. This is Neighborhood News. It's Tuesday night, 7 o'clock at night. Channel 95, we're back for one more show of the Neighborhood News. If you're watching this show and it's not a Tuesday night, it's because you're watching a repeat show. So please come back next Tuesday and we will have a brand new show for you. Today we have a guest, but before we start talking to our guest, let me welcome the Portuguese community that are on the other side of those cameras. Sejam bem-vindos para mais programa de notícias da sua vizinhança. Nós estamos de volta com mais programa e desta vez nós vamos ter uma convidada conosco. E como acontece todas as terças-feiras, às 7 horas da noite, aqui no canal 95, nós trazemos até vós programa de notícias da sua vizinhança. Não se esqueça do nosso programa Amigos, que vai ser transmitido amanhã, nas quartas-feiras, às 8 horas da noite, e trabalha no mesmo sistema. Se por acaso escutar o programa Amigos e não é uma quarta-feira, é porque está a haver um programa que está a ser repetido. Portanto, venha na próxima quarta-feira, às 8 horas da noite, e vai ver o programa Amigos. Também, aqui no canal 95, vai poder ver o programa de notícias em revisão semanal, que é feita por duas colegas nossas aqui no canal 95. Portanto, nós temos bastante programação para todos os gostos. Não se esqueçam que ao vivo, todas segundas, quartas e sextas, nós temos um programa americano que vai para o ar ao vivo e é aqui neste mesmo estúdio. Agora sim, vamos voltar de novo para o nosso programa de notícias da vossa vizinhança. I would like to remind you that Wednesdays at 8 o'clock at night we have a Portuguese show that it's done by me called Amigos. Goes on the air on this channel at 8 o'clock at night every Wednesday and works on the same system. If you're watching, you go through your channels and you seen the show and it's not a Wednesday night, it's because you're watching a repeat show. So please come back the following Wednesday and you will have a brand new show for you. Works on the same system. We do have a show in Portuguese, a news show, and those are on Mondays. Let's start talking to our guest today, and it's funny, the name, I never saw somebody with the 3 last names.
Because Silvia has a last name also.
Yes,
Yes.
3 last names. We Portuguese, we know we have 4, 5, 6 names. We have the mother, we have the first, the second. Some people have a third name, and then comes in the mother, and then comes in the father. So some people end up with 6 names. The first time actually that I met somebody that uses my last name as a first name was over here. Okay. I never heard about nobody called Cesar. Cesar, usually it's a family name. It's always a last name. On your case, you have Silvia. That's a last name. You very popular.
Yes.
Last name.
Yes.
Then you have Correia, which is a very popular last name, and you have Thomas. That on the American side, you have a lot of Thomas as last names. So I can just imagine how difficult it was to find you on the Yellow Pages.
Yes, it was a decision I made because obviously I'm from Portuguese heritage and I wanted to maintain my father's last name. And unlike most Portuguese people, I only had one first name and I didn't have a middle name. So I figured, to make my name longer, I would keep my maiden name to honor my dad, and then Thomas is my husband's name.
So you were born here?
I was born actually in Montreal. I'm from Montreal, Canada, and I moved here 20 years ago.
You're thinking going back?
I just went back to see my mother last weekend, and I was hoping that there wouldn't be a long line at the border. And luckily, I got through in like 2 minutes. But on the way back, it was so crowded. So I figured, maybe a lot of Americans went up and then changed their mind and came back.
No, a matter of fact, the day, not the day, but the week after. So last Monday.
Yes.
Monday, I was watching the Brazilian channel in the coffee shop, and the visas, the requests for Canada went up. I mean, tremendous. It was almost 3,000.
Yes, a friend of mine told me that the Canadian website crashed because of the high volume of visitors to that program.
And a lot of people asking visas for Canada. But today we're going to talk about your business, and you're a mom, and I think you can identify yourself having your kids. You can, and a lot of listeners out there, moms going to identify with your problem.
Yes.
And your problem is clothes, and,
yes.
and that you're trying to make a change. You're trying to correct something.
I'm trying to solve a problem for a lot of moms out there, moms with very active children. And so basically about 3 years ago, I had the idea for, I was sewing one of my son's pants that had ripped, and I tried to save them as many times as I could before finally giving up and throwing them away. Or actually, in this case, I held on to all the torn pants. But one day in my studio, and I was sewing the pants, I thought to myself, like, someone has to come up with a pair of pants that's going to last longer than, like, he would literally wear them like 5 or 6 times and they would rip. And I kind of I actually spoke the idea into my phone, and I kept the memo for all those years, and knowing that one day I would do something with it. And I'm a clothing designer by trade. I've been designing clothes for women for the last 25 years, both the first 5 years in Canada, and then I worked for 2 brands here in the US. I left my job in January, and I contacted Shelly Cardews, who is a friend who used to work with my husband. She was now the executive director of E for All, Entrepreneurship for All. And I asked her, I was contacting her as kind of like a networking, saying, do you know anybody in New Bedford or Fall River in clothing, that I want to do something different, I want to get out of what I'm doing, I want to work in manufacturing. And I explained to her, the idea that I'd had, and she's like, well, you should try out for a pitch contest. And I asked her to elaborate and tell me a little bit more about that. And one night in Fall River in April, we went down to the government center, and I presented my idea. So right away I started working, on my sketches and a concept board to present at the pitch contest. And we had to get up and do like a 2.5-minute pitch. And it went well. I didn't win that night, but I garnered a lot of interest in the product, and people told me that I should apply for the program. So yes, as a mom, the problem that I had, and I'll just show you a few pairs here. So we have whole.
Yep.
Whole. And these are ones that I sewed shut, and then like literally the next day they would rip again. So they didn't really.
You think it has something to do with the material?
I think it's a function of material, and I also think it's a function of how active a child you have. I mean, boys and girls can be very active, but some are more active than others. So it all depends on. My son is into sports and into literally throwing himself on the ground for no reason. Like, he'll catch the ball and he caught it standing up, but then he'll just throw himself down anyway, just because it's fun. So as you can see, it becomes a problem. And so this is just a small sampling. I had I would say 20 pairs of pants, 20 to 25 pairs of pants that I held on to, because I knew that I needed to try to solve this problem somehow. And There are other brands out there who currently have reinforced knee pants, like Sears has Tough Skins, Dickies has a pair, and Land's End has a pair, and actually Target also has a pair. But they're all very like plain-looking khakis, more and plain jeans. They're kind of more for private schools or like uniforms and stuff. Where I wanted my product to have a little bit of a cool edge, and being in fashion and seeing the trends and everything. At the time, there was like the motorcycle trend was motorcycle pants were really kind of popular. I had a pair myself, and they kind of inspired me to create the product that I'm working on now. So it's four styles to start off with, and they have multiple layers of fabric in the knee, layers of fusible, and there's some quilting fabric inside. We call it batting. It's like a polyester fill. So it creates a little bit of a cushioned knee and just multiple layers. So the technology I'm still working on getting the top layer to bonded with the fusing to really make it strong. So this is an ongoing. I'm still.
So it's a process.
Yes, it's a development process. So I've received my first 4 samples and in multiple sizes, and I'm now going to be entering the fit phase. So we have to find some models, some children. My son will be one of them, and then from that we verify what we sent to the factories for specs and what they sent back, and see if there's any adjustments that need to be made to the pants, whether the inseam or the waist. In fact, I think the waist is a little too big on one of the styles. So these are all things that they're called first prototypes, first protos. So you fit your first protos, and then you send comments back to the factory, and then you get a second round of samples with the corrections that are made. This is all stuff that you do before you go into production. In addition to the fit testing, we also have to do garment testing. For children's clothing in the US require a lot of testing. Flammability, lead content, abrasion, and wear. So if I'm saying that I want to go out with a product that's going to last longer, that your knees won't rip, I need to put my money where my mouth is. I need to make that, to make it something viable and something true. So that's also the next phase that I'm entering into. So I have a set of samples that I'll be sending to a lab to get tested, and then I have a set of samples that have been measured and we need to fit on children. And then I have 2 other sets that will be for wear, like my son is wear testing the jean currently, and also for photography and for the website that we'll be building in the new year. So
you don't manufacture, you design?
I design and I create the tech. It's called a tech package, a technical package. So it's all the information that goes to the factory: the fabric, the construction, the trims, the specs, the measurements, and the information goes over transmitted through email, and then they receive it on their end, and they proceed to make the pattern, and you have to source the fabric. So they send me fabrics, and I chose.
Are you involved on that process?
Everything.
During that time?
I'm doing all of it.
So do you have to go to the manufacturing?
I have been to China before. I've been to China 3 times. I've been to Hong Kong 4 times. And I've been to Macau actually too to visit some factories. But for this product, I haven't been to the factory yet. So that'll be like in the new year, if things take off and things are going well, I'll probably take a trip over there to see quality and maybe to pick new fabrics or work on future styles. Development.
Maybe you're not going to have to travel too long, because all those factories are going to come back to U.S.
That's what I'm hoping. So with E4All, one of my goals was to produce in America, and that would be like a really strong feature to add to the brand, because not only am I about creating less waste, I also would like to bring jobs back to America. Now, I had a scenario in my, and I have to talk to you about E4All too, that whole thing, but I had a scenario in my pitch at E4All, and it was that I would have my own factory and my own design space. And I said, well, for that, I'd only need $1.2 million. And that's probably an underestimation, but it would be an amazing thing to have my own factory and to design the stuff here, make it here, and sell it here and globally if possible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If that can happen, you will be able to do it here?
We would have to work out. So the price point is a big factor, obviously. Of the factories that I did reach out to locally in Fall River and New Bedford, some of them are not set up to do children's wear. Some of them were not set up to handle any more production because they were at full capacity and they don't have enough workers. Mm-hmm. So there is a want to make things here, but there's not the infrastructure yet. There's not enough people learning how to sew. There's not enough, and I feel like it's, if there are so many unemployed people, it would be such a tremendous thing to teach them and to have this be like a learning facility where you can come in and learn and then make product and, mm-hmm. and stimulate the economy and stimulate, made in America.
So you could have your own factory.
I wish. That would be an ultimate dream. Mm. Yeah.
Well, it's ways that can be done. Yeah. I know that we are a city that one time had a factory in every street.
Yes.
And so it is people around here that still know how to do the job. They're still looking for that kind of a job. We still have mills that are closed because it's not that they cannot fit anything else there. So it's possible. And then we have all the incentives that through the city that I can tell you, I have helped people that go through either the Chamber of Commerce or even state programs and they end up opening up their own business.
Okay.
So could be a way.
I'll talk to you about those contracts afterwards.
Nothing it's impossible, believe me. Let's talk a little bit about the
E for All.
E for All.
Okay, so I'll show you so E for All is entrepreneurship for all. And it's a program that's state funded, and it's run out. The class that I went to was in Fall River and New Bedford. So twice a week I would come to. Once a week was New Bedford, and once a week was Fall River at the UMass Dartmouth for Center of Innovation and Entrepreneurship, the CIE. And then once a week we would meet with mentors. So the way that E for All is set up, they are set up in small to mid-sized cities to help small to mid-sized cities who might be struggling economically to create, to stimulate, and to engage the community in starting companies. And they started in Lowell and Lawrence up on the North Shore, and they've been around for 5 years. They've created 150 jobs, the new companies that have started through E for All, and I believe it was they were responsible for the 80% of the businesses that went through the program are still functioning. So it's proven that it's worked, and so it started off as a private sector investment from Dash Deshpande, and he created the program called the Merrimack Sandbox, which was up on the North Shore. And once the government saw what was happening, they decided to they changed the name Entrepreneurship for All, and then they opened up the program to other cities. So Lynn, Massachusetts, Lowell and Lawrence, like I said, and then New Bedford and Fall River. And they E for All offers you an excellent mentorship program. So people donate their time and their experience, whether they're entrepreneurs themselves, they have businesses that they started and have been running for many years, expertise in different things. They come to E for All and donate their time, and we had this thing called a speed dating night. So you'd go around, and there were 15. It happened on 2 nights, so both nights was 15 mentors, and you literally had 3 minutes to sit down with each person, and you ask them questions for 1.5 minutes, and then they ask you. So you're basically talking for 3 minutes. and based on your connection and your availability, they had this like fancy like algorithm computers program that matched your availability with your like. You could rate your mentors that, you know, yes, no, absolutely not, yes, absolutely, I would want to work with this person. And at the end, you came out with 3 people. So in my program, we were 10 business owners, entrepreneurs, and each person got matched with 3 people. And those 3 people were there to follow you through the 12 weeks of the program. So it started in June, and in June, at the 6 weeks in, we had a mid-pitch. So you had to tell your family and your friends and other mentors and people who came, the audience that came, what your goals were, what you wanted to accomplish, and you know, what you set out to do in the 12 weeks. And in those 12 weeks, every week we met different people, insurance agents, specialized in limited liability or intellectual property. Like, I still have yet to talk to an intellectual property attorney about my product to see if there is something that we can garner, that we can, you know, protect. And social media experts, marketing experts, other entrepreneurs who have started businesses and are kind of like only maybe a year or 2 up. So it was such a wealth of information to meet and hear from these experts, you know, week in and week out. And I thought it was going to be a tough summer, you know, giving up my time to, you know, when I could be on the beach, but I was an amazing learning experience, and got connected with a lot of people, and the experience has led me here with you tonight.
And so coming back to, and I don't know how long we have there, but coming back to the idea,
yes,
and coming back to how you standing right now, the process that you still have to go through. When did you see that that you're going to have the final
production?
Yes.
So I was foreseeing entering, so we would do website development in the early part of the year, and then a production order would need to be placed in April in order to have goods by around August, because you have fabric time to be made. The fabric needs to be made. If I'm buying the fabrics that I currently worked with are fabrics that I would need to order from scratch. Unless I get lucky and the mill has some on hand. But traditionally, when you're working with fabrics, you need to order the fabrics. So that's like a 60-day lead, 45 to 60 days on fabric, and then about 60 days for production, and then the time on the boat to get over, which is like 2.5 to 3 weeks. So I'm looking to finally have product and hopefully launch by August. But because, like I said, I'm still working on it. If it doesn't happen by August, I'm going to keep pushing and try to, you know, by before Christmas to have like
And you still in the experience
stage.
Yeah.
I need funding. I need investors. I was planning to place a production order of 800 units, so that would be 200 units per style. The factory has a minimum of 300 units per style, so that brings up my units to 1,200. And financially, I would be taking a huge risk, putting all of my own money into that. So I'm willing to fund part of it, but then I need to either borrow some money or find some angel investors that will, you know, partner with me and, you know, bring Victorny to the market. I do believe it's a viable product. Everyone that I've shown the samples to has reacted positively, and every mom I talked to.
You just said that your son is trying the product now.
Yes, he's been wearing them.
How you think that
they're doing pretty well. They actually look really cool. They are, because it's denim and denim fades, the knees are wearing down a little bit, and it actually gives it a really cool effect. So because the knees have a specific stitch on them, and the way it's fading, it looks really cool. Yes.
And your son likes it?
He likes it. and all of his friends liked it. And
really?
actually, so yeah,
that's a good thing.
Yeah, another interesting thing that happened was Victor was wearing his pants to school one day, and he's in 3rd grade at the Doss School in Stoughton, and they said that, he's told the teacher, my mom designed my pants, and so they're learning about design and engineering, and she said, oh my God, would your mom like to come in and talk to the class about the process and how did she get these? How did she make them? So she talked to the other 3rd grade teachers, and they all got together, and they got the students in one class. There was like 60-something students and a few, like maybe 5 or 6 teachers that were sitting in, and I came in and explained to them the process from the very concept, from identifying the problem, because that's the thing that they're learning. Identify a problem, come up with a solution, design it, and make it. So it was fun, and all the kids in the class, like, when can we buy them? I said, not till next year. Like, next year? That's not,
So that means that you have a very famous son.
Yeah, exactly.
So I bet that he needs security to get into the school, get out of school, right?
No.
I'm just saying, because somebody probably is just going to take the pens away from him, Right. But anyway, Silvia, it was a pleasure to have you on the show, and we want to just keep in touch and let us know how you're doing with the process. On the meantime, I will do whatever I can, put you probably in contact with some people that probably will be able to help you out and to make that come true. And so nothing is impossible. Anything else that you want to?
That I want to say. I want to thank you for this opportunity. It's been another learning experience. And
TV this week, huh?
Yeah. Well, when Sunny told me to come down, I thought it was a radio program, and then I was like, I'm not ready for TV. I didn't know this was TV. So I thought it was going to be radio, but I'm actually. I'm ecstatic to be here. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Silvia was part of the Portuguese news. She was interviewed there for 3 minutes, and we want to give her a longer time for her to speak. So thank you, Silvia, for coming back.
Thank you.
And have a safe drive. And we're coming back next week at the same time, Channel 95. Thank you. Thank you, Michelle, out there on the buttons. Thank you.